Aputure 120D Mark II. This is unfortunately. Goodbye. Hey, is this thing on? What up, y'all? It's Tyson Terry Wolf, and I'm back for another video. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Remember to be thankful for your freaking life today because you didn't have to have that. So, as I said in the intro, I'm saying goodbye to the Aputure 120D Mark II. It's been a fantastic light. There's nothing wrong with it. It serves its purpose, and I would probably still recommend it to people, but I need a little bit more out of my lights. Now, as you see, I'm in a new studio space, or whatever you want to call it. It's almost done. Y'all will be seeing a video on this coming soon. But one thing that I really wanted was to upgrade my lighting situation, right? So I got some new lights in the house, and Zhiyun did send them over. They did sponsor today's video, so feel how you want to feel about that. But I want to show you all these new lights and what they're all about and how I'm going to use them. So let's go. Now, I don't want this to turn into some freaking Aputure bad session. Y'all know I don't even do stuff like that. And on top of that, can't nobody pay me to speak negatively against another brand. Anyways, I'm not saying that Zhiyun did, but what I am saying is there's a product for everybody, and this one just isn't for me anymore. Now, I brought this X60 over here because I use these little things a lot, and it's important to me to be able to keep everything in one ecosystem. And I'm gonna bring that back around full circle. Let's talk about the things that the 120D Mark II no longer gives me, or never gave them to me for that matter. And before I get into them, Aputure, as well as all of these other freaking light companies out here, including Zhiyun, have addressed a lot of this stuff that I'm about to talk about. However, since this is my main light and it doesn't have these things, they have become pain points for me. So let's start with the first thing, is that the Aputure 120D Mark II is single color. So I can't adjust the temperature of this light at all. In fact, if I want to change the temperature, I got to buy a whole nother light. Now, again, I know Aputure and other companies have this now, but this one doesn't, okay? And that's a problem for me. The second thing is I want wireless connectivity. Again, I know Aputure and Amaran and all these other companies out here have wireless connectivity now. But again, I bring this to make a point. I'm already using these all the time, and I already use the Vega app to control these because I have a few of them, right? So it just makes sense to keep everything in the ecosystem, right? And I know you can buy a little freaking adapter to put on the 120D Mark II to turn it into a wireless system and all that. I just don't have time for all of that, okay? So being able to control everything using an app or connected it to like a Stream Deck or something like that and be able to control all the lights at one time is a W. And then lastly, I do want more power than what the 120D Mark II can provide. Now, this is a very powerful light, but I do find, especially when you're painting rooms black and all that stuff, which literally suck the light out the room, that sometimes I need more power to use it how I want to, and both of these lights solve that problem. All right, we got the Moelis B500 up, and let me stop down so you can actually see the whole light. So a few things. First thing is first, this is a 500 watt light, y'all, and look how small it is. Real quick, something I want to point out. As you see with the B500 box, there is no carrying case, just a big foam insert, which I guess you could put that inside of another carrying case, but there is no carrying case, which is very strange because that is the Zhiyun X60 RGB, and that one comes with a snazzy carrying case. So very strange that neither one of these bigger, more premium lights come with carrying cases, but I just wanted to let you know that because I don't want you to get in and be like, oh man, why there ain't no carrying case in here? So I'm just telling you up front. And it's bicolor, so it's 2700 Kelvin all the way up to 5600 Kelvin. I'll put the nerdy lux ratings and all that stuff on the screen for y'all that want it. I don't test for that stuff. All I can tell you is that it's mad freaking bright. At 100%, I had to squint. Okay, I'm not even joking. Also, it is Bowens mount. You can use any Bowens modifier on here. Now, as you see, there is no ballast or anything like that. So it is a one cord solution that you just plug straight into the wall. You don't have to worry about a ballast or anything like that. And I know for some people that's going to be a problem when it comes to control, especially if you're using these things on film sets. Because this thing is so small, it's easy to just yeet it into the air, but then how do you control it, right? You could either control it with the Vega app, but the only problem with that is only one user can use it at a time, which means then you have to drop the light back down to be able to adjust it if you don't have access to the app. Well, there's a USB-C port on the side of it. You can buy a controller for it, but that does come separately if you need that type of control. Now, there is One, two, three fans on here. Let me go in for a closer look. You can see it. So one fan right there. There's a fan on the underside right there. And on the other side, let me go around. There's another fan right here, which you can see is running. Now, this uses Zhiyun's Dynavort cooling system technology, okay? You can go on their website for all that nerdy stuff, but I will tell you, this is a very small body. It's putting out a whole lot of power. They got to have a way to keep this thing cool. Also, I will tell you at 100% brightness, this thing, it is audible, so you can't hear it. So if you're using this in close proximity to like microphones, you want to run this bad boy at 100%, you definitely are going to hear the fans. They aren't terribly loud, but again, you can hear them. As a matter of fact, I'll turn it up for you so you can hear it. There is a little display on the back so you can see the color temperature and the power output. This knob right here controls the power output. Okay, you can obviously press it in and it'll go through a few different steps for you. So that'll put it at 100. If you keep pressing it, it'll go from like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. And on the other side, this is how you control the color temperature. And pushing this in also does the same thing where it'll jump between temperatures, and my white balance is getting all jacked up. Now, if y'all want to, the B500 does come with a freaking reflector. So there's that if you want to use it. And it comes in different power levels. They have like a 100, a 300, a 500. So you can pick through those on the website. Obviously, this is the most powerful one. But again, 500 watts is something this small. Typically, to get 500 watts, the unit is a whole lot bigger than that. Usually, there's a big, heavy ballast that you got to deal with. And that's not on here. On top of that, it's freaking bicolor, which is what I wanted. I love this lantern it came with. And I get wireless app control that I'm going to show you. And of course, it's got the built-in lighting effects like lightning and all that other stuff that Zhiyun's light have. Listen, for me, this is a W studio light. It solves all the issues I had. And it is mad freaking bright, okay? Really, really bright. To go along with that thought, actually, before we do that, I want to bring the X60 RGB into the photo. Look how sexy this light is. And that sounds crazy to say about some lights, but both of these lights follow the same design language, man. I love what Zhiyun is doing when it comes to aesthetics. I know most people don't care about how the freaking lights look. You just want to make sure they work, but I like the idea of the lights being sexy and working at the same time. As you see, as we already said, they're made out of plastic, okay? So these are not the lights that you should be looking at. If you need to go out and freaking film in the middle of the desert while it's raining and all that stuff, do not buy these for that purpose. However, even though they're made out of plastic and, you do see some metal bits and stuff like that on it, they are still very, very high quality. I feel like they don't feel cheap or nothing like that. The clamps are plastic, but they still feel good. Both of them have umbrella holes in them and all that stuff on them, so they feel great. I just wouldn't take them out in the elements because they're not made for it. All right, B500 is set up. Let's talk about this Molesh G300. Honestly, this is my favorite one out of the two of them. First of all, look how small this thing is. This outputs 300 freaking watts of power. 300 watts coming out of something this small is wild, y'all. But anyways, it's bicolor, so 2700 Kelvin up to 5600 Kelvin, just like the B500. And it uses any Bowens mount modifier, which is super dope. The next thing is, I know we talked about these being mostly plastic, and this one is no different. So, you don't want to go take these out in the rain and all that stuff. They don't have weather sealing, but the knobs, the handle are super high quality. It doesn't feel cheap at all. Now, the other thing that you'll notice about this one is it does have a control box, unlike the B500 that has an integrated one. This one is separate. That might be a good or a bad thing for you, kind of based off what we talked about earlier. The layout for controls is the same as the B500. So you got the knob right there to control intensity. The other one is to control color temperature. And you got a screen right here that gives you all the basic information. Now, this one has something different, okay, something special in it, and that's called, I'm gonna call it the Super Saiyan mode. So it's a high power mode where if you press both of these down at the same time, it goes into max mode. Max will give you 500 watts of power instead of 300 watts of power coming out of something this freaking tiny. Now, as far as fans go, obviously there's a fan in there. There's a fan inside the control box. All right, real quick, I got both of these in Super Saiyan mode, so both of them are running at max, which means 500 watts. The fans and the light and the box are both going, so let me let you hear both of them. And also this one pairs right up with Zhiyun's app, which I'm going to show you here in a second. So again, look at how small this thing is. 300 watts of power normally. If you put it into Super Saiyan modes, you can get even more power out of it. I can't believe how bright this thing is to be so small. Now let me show you the connectivity part, because this is where it gets real dope, at least for me. Now before I show you connectivity real quick, one thing that's immediately noticeable is how much power the B500 puts out, and the G300. But let's talk about the B500 first. I used to have to crank the 120D Mark II up to about 90% if I'm, firing it up at the ceiling to kind of flood the whole room with light. I got the B500 on literally like 12%, and it's way brighter than the Aputure 120D Mark II was. And I know it's just the differences of power output. If I had a 100-watt one, it wouldn't be the same. But this B500 has so much freaking power, and so does the G300. Both of them are really powerful lights to be how small they are. All right, so I got the Zhiyun Vega app open, which is what you use to control the different light fixtures. Already got a X60 in there. And you can obviously set different group colors if you have, different lights in here. But let's go with red, because red is the best color. And let's go ahead and press the plus sign. And immediately both lights pop up. So you don't need to put the lights in the parent mode or nothing like that. Okay, so the first good thing about the Vega app is you can do the firmware updates through the Vega app. It doesn't have to be by connecting it via USB-C. So we'll tap on the little caret. Okay, and then I can upgrade my devices or my lights right from here. All right, so now our firmware update is finished on both lights, which it only took like 2 minutes. Both lights flashed on and off a few times. Now, remember how I told y'all about the max mode on the G300? Well, here's our button for max right here. You can actually turn it on just by pressing it, and it instantly gets brighter in here. That fan kicks right on too. Obviously, you can turn them on and off from here. You can adjust the intensity from here. You can adjust the color temperature. There's a bunch of presets in here for color temperatures. And all the way at the bottom, there's this option down here for CCT pair. Now, what this does is fires up the camera, and whatever the camera is pointing at, it'll match the temperature of the subject to the temperature of the light which is fired. Once we go back, you can see that you can set up different groups if you have several lights, lighting effects and all that other good stuff are in here. So overall, the Zhiyun Vega app works great. It's really simple to use, and it gives me instant control over all the lights. As you see, I just killed the whole room, and that's what I've been needing the whole time. Like, I don't want to mess around with buttons and knobs to turn lights on and off. I would love to be able to do this from the phone or from like something like a Stream Deck or something like that. We need to talk about price. As I said, the G300 is, and the B500 is, and pound for pound, spec for spec, compared to all the other lights out there, okay, I find that not only are these a freaking bargain, but they punch way higher than their weight class. I would say really the only two possible deal breakers would be, first of all, the fan noise, but they're small lights. The heat got to go somewhere. It's not bothersome to me, but I understand how it might be bothersome to some people. And my other gripe would be that they're not weather sealed. So if you're looking for like the outdoor solution that you can take on film sets, you don't want to have to worry about them getting wet or dust or anything like that, then these two are not for you. But aside from those things, which neither one of those apply to me, these are going to be studio lights for me. These solve all of the problems that I had with the other lights that I was using. And this is no shade to any other company out there. Everybody makes amazing stuff. I just find right now that Zhiyun is making the lights that fit me the best. And Zhiyun makes amazing quality stuff. I fully trust that these things will last me for years. And I'm gonna go ahead and give them the stamp of approval. And I think you should get them, okay? And I'm not just saying this. These are really good freaking lights. And there's a discount code right here on the screen, and also in the description, along with the link that you'll use to buy one, since you just told me that you're gonna buy at least one of them, right? But no, seriously, if you are going to, which I highly recommend these lights, use the discount code to save yourself some money. Anyways, thank you to Zhiyun for sponsoring today's video. I know some of y'all are probably mad, oh, Terry took a sponsor video. The video makes sense for me because I needed some new lights, and these fit the bill. Hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, I'm out of here. Tight shirt, Terry Warfield. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out, y'all. Much love. Peace.